everyone, and welcome back to Claim Your Potential, the Empowerment Podcast. I'm your host, Sofie, and for this episode, we have a special guest here with us to discuss self-appreciation and the beauty of being single on purpose. She is a master practitioner of neuro-linguistic programming and a certified life and emotional intelligence coach, helping people all around the world use their old flame to light their new fire. Through humor, knowledge, and experience, she guides her clients through overcoming blocks and ineffective life patterns that have been holding them back, followed by introducing massive action in order to activate major desired life changes. Coming in 2023 is her book, Sometimes It Takes a Breakup. Please welcome Jacqui Pugh. Thank you so much for being with us today, Jacqui.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
We're excited to have you on. And just to jump right in, how have your breakups motivated you or played a role in who you are today?
Oh, that is such a juicy question. Well, I've been fortunate enough to have some of the most traumatic breakups, in my opinion, um, which really forced me to look at things. So, um, I'm like, which one should I start with? I definitely had a pattern of breakups and dating guys who were typically more interested in themselves, made me an option and never a priority, cheated, things like that. But then I lived with a guy who broke up with me by just not coming home. And I was like, this is not going to stop me from love. So I met another guy. And 3 months later, he woke up one morning and took everything and just left. And then I still was like, this is not going to stop me from love. So I met a guy who lived in Colorado and decided to move there prematurely for him because that was his love language. And he broke up with me 6 days later, and my stuff was still in shipment. Yeah, so I was living in someone's home where they were never home. The house was disgusting. I had no door on my bedroom. I was in a city where I literally didn't know anybody. I had two friends, but they were at least an hour away. And I was trying to get into real estate, and you have to know people in order to sell houses, which I didn't know. I thought you could just sign up at a firm and they would give you clients. That is not how it works. You need to network and stuff. So I literally didn't know anybody. And I decided, you know what? This isn't going to stop me from love either. And so I would network 4 days a week, and I would go on 2-a-day dates. Like literally, I would have a date at 6 o'clock and then another one at 8 o'clock. And I would joke around that, oh, I need like a little black book. I have so many dates. But in reality, what I was doing was I was not dealing with the pain that I had going on inside. And I wasn't looking at, is there a pattern here? Like, how do I keep ending up in the same exact situation? So, when my career finally wasn't going as I wanted, and I was just feeling unfulfilled in life and in friendships and family and romantic relationships and finances and fun, I was like, what is the common denominator here? There has to be a common denominator. And I could not wait to figure it out because I was like, oh my gosh, am I going to blame this thing so hard when I figure out? And I figured it out. And the common denominator was me. And I was like, me. I had a whole moment of feeling victim for about 5 minutes until I realized, wait a minute, if I'm the common denominator, then that means I'm not waiting for anything else outside of me to change. That means that I have the power within myself to change. And that day, as they say, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And that day, my life coach launched a self development group coaching program, and I signed up and I did that for 6 months straight. And I realized why I was in those relationships and why that was happening. And in turn, I've been able to change it. And now I do that for people all over the world.
Wow, that's a wonderful use of taking that pain and turning it into power. And you kind of touched on it briefly about this victim mentality. And how does a victim mentality versus a hero mentality play a role in relationships and relationship recovery?
Oh my goodness, so much, so much. So, for anybody that's listening and maybe you're not familiar with the phrase that we're using with victim mentality, and I know it can also, when you're in a victim mindset, it's like, ah, so rude. But victim mentality is, why is this happening to me? And hero mentality, as Sophie just brought up, is, why is this, how is this happening for me? And so when we can look at every situation as, why is this happening for me? There's actually a lesson that we can pull out of it versus when we're like, why is this happening to me? We just get stuck there, right? And so when we're in a victim mentality in a relationship, so many things are going on. One, we're hoping that this person is going to fix us. We're hoping that this person is going to make us happy, and we start paying attention to all these little nuances that don't matter. You know, why they had an inflection the certain way, or if they don't show up according to our expectations, we immediately mean that think that they don't love us and we're not good enough, and we put all of these heightened expectations on people, and it's something that people can't live up to, and in turn we become a self-proclaimed prophecy, right? We end up pushing those people away, and then we go back to, see, I'm not worthy enough, I'm not lovable enough, I'm not enough in all of the ways, fill in the blank, all because it stems from that victim mentality.
Why is it important to value ourselves before getting into a relationship? Or if we're already in a relationship, why should we keep working on our self worth?
Yeah, it's such a great question. And honestly, I kept picking the guys that I was picking because I didn't value myself. I didn't know my worth. And so, in my mind, subconsciously, right, I didn't know these things at the time, but subconsciously, what was going on was I didn't feel valuable or worthy enough unless I was in a relationship. And that's why I would jump from relationship to relationship to relationship, and I would put up with poor behavior, right? Cheating and not being a priority, and lying, or someone, always only thinking of themselves and never you. Like, those are not conducive behavior patterns to a healthy relationship. But I would put up with that because I only felt like I was valuable if somebody else wanted me, whether it was something that fulfilled me or not. So, number one, it's super, super important to find your value first, because that's going to help you make aligned decisions to be in a healthy relationship versus something where literally you're just settling for anybody, almost, in a sense, right? Or they're cute, maybe, right? They don't actually add value to your life. Second part of your question is, why is it so important to keep working on yourself when you're in a relationship? Is off so many times I have people come to me and they lose themselves in a relationship, and usually it is because they're a people pleaser, or they have some type of victim mentality, and they're trying to be more and do more in order to get the love that they desire, and in turn that ends up pushing people away. People value people with as much value as you value yourself. People respect you with as much respect as you show yourself. It's actually a very, very attractive quality. And when we see that somebody else in front of us is growing, is having healthy boundaries, is having healthy standards, one, we're going to respect them more. And two, more than likely, it's going to inspire us to grow as well. So it's really, really important to constantly stay in the work of growing to be your best version.
I absolutely agree with that. I think, I don't know where I was reading it, but it was something where never let anyone get comfortable disrespecting you, because then you start to disrespect yourself. And I think that that really rings true here is, as we talk about self-worth and we talk about who we are in relationships, that the second that that partner disrespects you, that's opening sort of the floodgates to you starting to disrespect yourself by staying in that relationship, by not valuing, I know I need more than this, I'm better than this, I can't put up with this. And I think that
Mhm.
100%, I absolutely agree with you that, valuing yourself before a relationship, I feel like is key, but definitely that attractive quality of, you're going to attract somebody by being confident and feeling worthy of yourself. And you're going to attract people that value that trait when you start putting that forward. So, and you kind of touched on it a little bit, but what are some tips that you can give to work on self appreciation? I feel like it's very difficult for a lot of us to be able to figure out how we approach that.
Yeah. And I want to start with a little visual I like to give all of my clients, in terms of what you just said about valuing yourself first. And people are going to be more attracted to that because imagine, imagine walking on the street and you see this really cute stranger, inside of a cute restaurant somewhere and you're like, oh my gosh, they're totally my type. And look at this amazing group of friends that they have. And then you notice that they're sitting there crying and they're like, I just don't understand. Why doesn't anybody want to date me? You probably would be like, oh man, like, I think this person needs to get a little bit of support in that area. But if you saw that same exact person in that same exact cute restaurant and you walked by and you're like, wow, what a cute stranger, and you see them laughing and they're having fun and they're telling their friends, you know what? I love my single life and I love my job and I love my friends and I love my family. And when my person comes into my life, it's just going to be a bonus. I don't need it, but it's going to be a bonus. You probably would be like, holy cow, what is that person doing? And yes, I want to date them. That's what we're talking about when we value ourselves and get happy within ourselves first, how attractive that is. So to start the little snowball, a lot of times guilt can come with that, right? Do you feel that way too, Sophie?
All the time.
Yeah, me too. It's very, very normal for us to feel guilty. And so I like to teach in story and analogy, in case you can't tell, but I like to give my clients the visualization of an ice cream truck. And if there's an ice cream man and he's got this rockin' ice cream truck, and all of the kids go there to get their ice cream, and first dates happen there, and it's just like always busy, and the ice cream man is running around and running around and running around and getting more ice cream and giving more ice cream out. But if he doesn't ever take a break to go run to the store and get more ice cream, he eventually runs out of ice cream. And now he's not helping little kids create new memories. He is not helping those first dates happen. Maybe there was going to be some business person that was going to be walking on the street and see this amazing, flourishing ice cream truck and they were going to want to franchise it. None of that is happening because the ice cream man is burnt out. He doesn't have any ice cream in his truck. He didn't take time for himself. So I like to invite my clients to think of their energy as the ice cream truck, right? If they don't ever take a break and go to the store and fill themselves back up, they're not going to have anything to give to other people. And so, as much as we want to give, it's also important to rest. It's okay to do those things that light you up. It's okay to take a nap. It's okay to go get a mani pedi or a massage. It's okay to go have a dance party or go spend time with friends. It's okay to literally take a day and just binge watch Netflix. It's okay to do those things. It's also okay to take time to feel an emotion. Like maybe you're angry at your boss or you're angry at somebody in your life or something tragic happened and you're sad and you're like, I don't have time to feel this right now. Well, what we resist persists. And then it's going to keep popping up until you take the time to feel it. So, feeling those emotions is also self care. That's also going to the store, like the ice cream man, and getting more ice cream to put in your truck. Allowing those emotions out is the same exact thing. So to sum it up, one tip would be to go do something that lights you up. And one tip would be to actually take the time to feel whatever it is that you need to feel so that you can move on.
I love that ice cream truck analogy. I've never heard that before, but I feel like it really does ring true that a lot of the time we give and we don't, take the time to replenish our ice cream truck. So I'm going to use that from now on when I talk to people about this because that was very creative. So thank you for that. And like I just kind of wanted to maybe take a personal note here, and I think that what you're saying, I wish I heard it months ago.
Mm,
I got out of a relationship, I want to say almost 4 months ago now, maybe 5 months ago. But the first 2 to 3 months of that was very emotional denial phase where I was like, no, I need to be okay. I need to make sure everything's okay. And, I'm just going to push past it. I'm not going to feel any of the hatred or the pain or the sadness. And I kept like pushing down those emotions. And I mean, of course, they boiled over and eventually they all came out in kind of one fell swoop of hatred and anger and crying and sadness all coming out at one time because I didn't deal with those emotions and I didn't take time for myself. I started, kind of throwing myself into social settings and trying to distract myself from that pain. And I think that's a lot of ways that people try to deal with emotions is to throw yourself into maybe a new career or to throw yourself into a new friendship or even a new relationship. And we don't take that as you said, that time to go to the store and replenish our ice cream supply. We just keep giving out parts of ourselves and don't replenish.
Mhm.
So it's comforting in knowing that someone has thought about this the same way and has been through these situations where you want to put your emotions down and you don't know how to deal with it. But I agree that it's incredibly important to deal with our emotions. And as we kind of segue out of a relationship, right, when we're in this single life, how can we be single with purpose?
So, one, I wanted to say I'm sorry to hear about your heartbreak, and I'm sending you so much love. And if you need anything, I'm
Oh,
here because
thank
that's
you.
a very, very challenging time for sure. And that's what birthed my business. Oh, I hate that word. I don't know why I just said that word. That's what started my business. um, and so I just want to send you some love for that. And anybody else who's listening and going through that, I'm sending you lots of love. And I took 18 months to be single with purpose. And the reason being is if you want to stop those dating patterns, and most of us have them, and that's okay because everything in our life is a pattern. In order to stop a tornado from spinning, to the right, a tornado has to actually stop so that it can spin in a different direction. And if you want those dating patterns in your life to stop, that means that you actually have to stop. You get to stop and look at yourself and work on yourself. Why do you operate the way that you do? Why are your patterns there? I highly recommend getting a coach or a therapist. And there's nothing wrong with that. People teach us how to think, or they teach us what to think in school, but they don't teach us how to think in school, right? This is just literally taking your education to another level when you get a therapist or a coach and really diving deep and looking at why you've been calling in the things that you've been calling in and taking that time away from dating to truly become your best self. Because the more that you know yourself and what it is that truly complements you, the more that you're able to know who, like, the ideal partner that complements you, the more that you're able to make better decisions and to start creating healthier love life patterns moving forward. So that decision on how to be single on purpose, that gets to be your choice, right? If you're feeling like I'm single but it's not on purpose, that's not being single on purpose, right? It's maybe I'm crying and I'm single and I'm going to use this time to be a purpose. Like, I'm going to make a purpose out of this. This is going to be my time that I turn into gold. Like, thank you for this breakup. It sucks. And watch who I'm going to become next.
Oh, I like that. Absolutely. Oh my goodness. Yes, that is like confidence boss energy quote right there.
Oh, thank you.
And to sum up everything, what is one thing that our listeners should take away from this?
It is not, you are not a failure if you are single. Society preaches that by a certain time we should have the marriage and the house and the white picket fence and the kids and the job. We should have all of these things by a certain time. And if you don't have these things by a certain time, you are a failure. And I'm here to tell you, no, you are not. No, you are not. Almost 50% of marriages now end in divorce. And 50% of my clients who have come to me heartbroken, okay, and I haven't been in this, for 30 years. I've only been in this for, I mean, it's still a long time, but since 2018, 50% of them have already found the love of their life and they're healthy, aligned partners. Okay, so stop settling. Take that away. Stop settling because of a timeline. You don't get to settle because of a timeline. You get to take whatever time you need to take to become the best version of yourself and wait for that aligned person to come into your life. Because great, you jumped into a relationship, you're not single anymore. And guess what? You can be in a relationship and feel alone and lonely and lost. You can still feel all those things whether you're single or in a relationship. It doesn't matter. It all starts with you. And so many people who are married don't take that single time to actually figure out who they are and what they want. And that's why I believe the divorce rate is so high. I think it's because people jump in, they think they need to be on a timeline, they don't know exactly who they are, what they want, only because they're doing the best that they can with where they're at, like we all do. But it's this rushed thing, or they feel like it doesn't exist out there. This is as good as I'm gonna get. but I'm here to tell you that if you exist, they exist. If you're real and you have certain standards and values, somebody else out there does as well. They're not too high. They're not too high. As long as you are working on you and being your own standards, they are not too high. So if you are single, it is your golden time and you get to use it on purpose, for a purpose, to become the best version of yourself.
I love that. Thank you so much for coming on to the podcast. I really enjoyed speaking with you, and I really do look forward for when your book releases. I can't wait to dive into that and be able to read more of your amazing anecdotes and your analogies. That's like the most exciting part too, the analogies for sure. Thank you so much for coming on to the podcast.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. And if you love analogies, I think it's today. Yeah, I'm launching today my top 7 secrets of being single AF and loving life, and they're free. So if you want them or anybody wants them, you guys can totally jump into my Facebook group and they're going to be listed in there as a free guide.
Oh, wonderful. Hear that, everyone? Take advantage of that 100%. And I will link your information, Jacqui, in the description. So everyone go follow her, go see her awesome tips and her wonderful energy, and her sense of humor is very powerful. So thank you so much for coming on to the podcast. And I'm sending you a lot of love too. And I hope that whether you're single in a relationship, that you are living your most authentic and wonderful life.
Thank you so much, lovely. Have a good day.
That concludes this podcast episode. Thanks for listening. If you're enjoying our show, you can also visit our website, claimyourpotential.com, to access our blog, listen to previous and future episodes, leave a review, and subscribe to our newsletter. For more content, you can follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Claim Potential for inspiration, episode and blog post announcements, episode excerpts, along with other content for you to reach your full potential. A free way to support our show is by leaving it a rating and review on the podcast streaming platform of your choice. If you're not sure how to do this, you can head over to the Leave a Review page on our website for instructions. Thank you, everyone, and tune in next time where we'll continue to learn how you can claim your potential.